Don't get mad at me today. I don't care. But if you notice that a guy didn't care nothing about you or wasn't showing much interest or investment until it was clear that you stopped caring and you started mentally checking out and detaching from him, especially if you're on the early dating phase with him, the reason why is likely because he wants you to chase him. So he starts to give you little flickers of what it's like whenever he finally reciprocates your energy, when it's clear you're pulling back your energy, you're divesting your energy. You're going to reinvest it into yourself or to somebody else. The reason why, especially again, in the very beginning, y'all just started dating, you're still getting to know each other. It's only the first couple of weeks, maybe the first month or two or something like that. And the energy is stale. The conversations are kind of dry on his end until you stop calling, you stop texting him, double texting him, triple texting him, keeping the conversations going. And whenever you finally stop that, here he comes wanting to show up. Likely he wanted you to chase him. So it's like a form of breadcrumbing. We talked about that earlier. But breadcrumbing in a traditional sense is basically giving you just enough to keep holding on, just enough to just stick around and that kind of thing. But if you notice that a guy really invests a whole lot of energy into you, and it's in the early dating phases, he wanted you to chase him, or he had a very immature attention span. Y'all know how, like, whenever we was children, like, we couldn't really sit still more than 20, 30 minutes. You know, we on one thing to the next thing. We get a toy and we, play with it for an hour on Christmas. Then we go on to the next toy. But as we get older, well, we can take road trips. We can sit in seminars, lectures. We can take flights, 3 or 4 hours. We can read a book. It just takes some maturity to have a certain level of attention span. And there are guys out here who simply have an immature attention span. So if you're dating a guy with one of those, he's going to be very variety driven. He's going to have a shopping mentality, not an investment mentality when it comes to dating. He's like chase oriented. If he's not on the chase for a woman, he really don't care. And every man loves to chase, but mature men, evolved men also appreciate the keep once they got what they chased down. So with those types of dudes, you'll constantly have to be pulling back, holding back your love in order to keep him in chase mode so that you can get the energy and attention that you need. In any case, it's not worth going forward if this is already presenting itself in the very beginning. But when it comes to a relationship, even with the right foundation built in the very beginning, it totally changes why a guy will not care until it's clear that you done stop caring. And before we get into that though, because that's what I really want to talk about. Let me make sure I'm coming through clearly. I'm outside today. It's a little glare. If I'm coming through clearly, both in my sound and you guys can see me, put your city and state down in the chat. Put your city and state down in the chat if you can hear and you can see me okay. I'm looking down in the comments. When I see that, I know that we can go in on this topic. Why is it that a man won't start caring until it's clear that his woman finally done checked out and giving him no more chances to meet her needs or nothing like that? All right, I see him coming in. So one reason why, and these in no particular order, it's like 3, I think, why a guy won't start caring until you stop is because, first off, he doesn't appreciate you, but he doesn't want another man to appreciate you. Put I down in the chat if you've ever dealt with a guy like this. So if he doesn't appreciate you, why would he even keep you around? More than likely, it's because he finds use in some aspect of you. So whether it's he finds use in that you're a beautiful woman, you look good on his arm, or maybe you giving him a place to stay. If he's a homosexual, maybe you are giving him food, maybe you are giving him sex, whatever it is, validation, I don't know. But he finds usage in some aspect of you, but he doesn't truly appreciate you. But of course, he knows what caliber of woman you are. A lot of y'all think, only a good man is going to recognize a good woman. No, good and bad. I don't even like using those adjectives, actually. But good and bad, right and wrong men alike, they know a quality woman whenever they see one. So if he's with you, but he doesn't truly appreciate you, he knows how other men will show up for you. He knows how an evolved man is going to show up for you. And if that evolved man does, that evolved man clearly is going to take you and all your usefulness away from him. Now, another reason why a guy won't start caring until his woman stops caring, and this one is completely different, is because he always cared about you, but he didn't care about you in a way that communicated that he cared about you. Like, he didn't care about you in a way that you needed him to care about you. He didn't love you in your love language. He didn't understand your love language more than likely, or wasn't stressed to him how important it was that he spoke your specific love language for you to receive the love that you needed. So what this looks like is a lot of times a guy will have like a traditional blueprint. His mom and daddy or great granddaddy or whatever, they went to work, came home, and they protected the house. And that's how he shows that he cares. Until the gravity of what you are not receiving from him hits him in the form of you leaving. And now he's going to ditch that and start doing whatever it is that you were complaining about before. Right? So some of y'all may say, well, why wasn't he caring about complaining? Well, everybody knows no relationship is perfect. Some guys just look at a woman's complaints and what she's trying to tell him as, oh, any general grievance, we all got flaws, et cetera, until you finally leave. And in this type of situation, I honestly believe this can be worked out. This can be worked out. Like yesterday, we talked about, when not to go back to a man and when never to take him back, or at least the case when you shouldn't. In this type of situation, I think you guys can get to a mediator. So if this is your dude, absolutely, and you still love him, I say give it another shot. If y'all got a lot of skin in the game, some years in or whatever, especially in marriage or kids, this is the opportunity, I think, where you could actually make that work. Now, here's the thing you don't want to do. You don't want to go back, see his behavior change back to what it was, and then you keep making that a pattern of leaving and then coming back, checking out and then checking back in. Because then you end up with a third dude. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I think this probably represents the majority of guys in this situation in a long-term relationship. And that's a guy who enjoys your presence, but doesn't respect your absence. He enjoys your presence. He likes you being around, but he doesn't respect the inevitability of losing you if he doesn't do what it takes to sustain you and create that emotional safety for you. So what happens here is a guy will basically put you in queue. Y'all know when y'all call like customer service and they got you in queue, you the third, fourth, fifth caller or something like that. That's the same thing that a dude who just enjoys your presence but doesn't respect your absence will do. He'll put you in queue. So you know what? When he finally gets his bag, or whenever he achieves whatever in his career, or whenever he's done with the street life, or whenever he's done chasing girls in the streets, then he'll get to you. He just had to put you on ice for a little bit. And that's one of the worst situations to be in, because you probably are one of two things to that man. You're either the girl that ain't going nowhere, or you're the girl that ain't going nowhere for long. The woman that ain't going nowhere for long, right? And this is typically a result of him not being used to you enforcing your boundaries. So you've been able to speak and say what you need and stuff like that, but you haven't really enforced your boundaries for him to take that serious. And if he doesn't take your boundaries serious, he's definitely not going to respect your absence until he gets your absence. And now he wants to show up. Now he wants to show up for you. He wants to do whatever it takes to meet your needs, et cetera, et cetera. But this is a situation where, again, he will put you on ice. He'll have you waiting. I'll get to her whenever I get to her. I'll deal with her whenever I deal with her. And that keeps you in a situation where you keep having to, check out, because you got to be emotionally safe. You can't continue to be vulnerable to this guy. You can't continue to let him hurt you. And now you got to go ahead and start your way out the relationship. But then you come back in because he shows you what he's fully capable of whenever he does prioritize you, but you're not a priority. And any of these instances basically keeps you from a proper love. Any of these situations, because a part of properly loving a woman is to prioritize her. And a lot of guys, and on a sincere level, have never seen a woman be integrated into the maximization of a man. A lot of guys have never seen that. So they look at loving a woman as something that's going to take them away from everything they're trying to do to push their life forward. They've never seen a good woman, and how whenever you invest a good woman into what you got going on, you incorporate her without forgetting that she does have needs and that she should still be a priority and that she needs time made for her, not spared for her, how she can maximize everything that you probably were putting her in the back burner for. A lot of guys have never seen that. So whenever you deal with a guy who's ignorant to that, whether willfully or just on whatever, he just didn't mean to be, you keep yourself from a man who already understands that. He already has evolved to that place. He got mentored. He's already had the experience and learned the hard way, or whatever it means. And whenever you keep yourself from being properly loved, you keep yourself from the version of you that's properly loved, that's 10 times greater than the woman that you currently are. That's 10 times more ambitious in your own right. That's 10 times more fulfilled in what you're trying to achieve. That can love 10 times harder. So many of y'all are used to being with guys and not being able to give your full love because you know it's not going to be reciprocated, and that's going to hurt you. So you constantly have to hold back. Put I down in the chat if that's you. If you've ever been there. If you've ever felt like you had to hold back your love, hold back your gifts, hold back your words of affirmation, hold back the amount of time that you spent, hold back your physical affection because you knew it wasn't going to be reciprocated and that was going to hurt. So you spent a lot of time in your relationships suppressing just to try to keep the peace within so that you don't have something to complain about, so that you're not crying, so that you're not feeling, shorted. And that's, again, a fraction of the woman that you're capable of being whenever you are properly loved. That brings out a fraction of who you would be if you had the peace of mind of knowing that you're protected, you're prioritized, You know, you're cared for, you're emotionally tended to by a man who understands the importance and how to incorporate a woman in him doing everything that he's trying to do. Not that he has to put her back until he get his head together, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I talked about how a woman gets properly loved, most women, depending on where you are in your life, and how to vet a man who can properly love you early on. I already did that in my free masterclass, The Benefits of a Properly Loved Woman. If you have not gotten access to that powerful masterclass yet, it's coming down soon. Click the link. It's already right here. That's the comment that's pinned right here. Click the link down here, pinned in the comments, or if you don't see it, just back out, hit it in the caption. Get access to that ASAP. It's coming down soon. And I went in for over an hour about what it looks like when a woman is properly loved and how to vet a man who has the capacity, who has the evolution in order to properly love her without her constantly having to threaten that she's going to leave or actually leave in order to do it. But back to what I was saying, whenever a man only starts to care, whenever you finally stop caring, I already know it's really difficult to come back in once you do come back in, but don't make it a habit that somebody can get comfortable disrespecting you and then getting you back because you constantly gonna get back so long as they do X, Y, and Z, or else they'll get comfortable basically leaving you hanging on everything that you need while you constantly trying to show up for him and explain why he should be more appreciative and all of that. Look, it ain't worth your time. And if somebody's gonna put you through that emotional roller coaster, they don't deserve you. But those are just my thoughts. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. And again, don't forget to get access to my free masterclass, Benefits of a Properly Loved Woman, if you want more on this conversation. And share this. If you got something from this conversation, share this right now for somebody on your timeline who also needs to hear.